Good morning and a warm welcome from a sunny South Africa. My name is Raylene, Pienaar, Head of Sales and Retention. And of course, I'm not alone today. With me, General Manager Bonnie Smith and the lovely Mummy Mafojane, Operations Director. Locally connected and globally streaming. Welcome, ladies, and I'm really excited about our discussions today, and I hope you both have your thinking caps on. So Bonnie, let's jump straight into you. In summary, what does the local South African landscape look like with local technology and the flawless experience?
So Raylene, it's been 2 years since South Africa was put into a national state of disaster.
Yeah.
And it's been very difficult for the country, and we still find ourselves under enormous pressure from a financial point of view. Obviously, unemployment has risen to an all-time high, and for anyone that knows South Africa will know that we already had a high unemployment. We also have seen growth in the 2022 year of 4.6%, but it's the lowest growth for any global country. The IMF are actually predicting that that will drop to 1.9% in 2022, and then a further 1.4% in 2023. So that puts companies under major financial constraints. We're also seeing our fuel price get to an all-time high. It's fast growing, which means airline tickets are more expensive, and that puts constraints onto budgets. However, we did have our Finance Minister speak to us in February and deliver his financial global speech, or national speech, should I say, and that has highlighted some growth opportunities. All-time tax stays the same, and they've got some good plans in place to get the structure up and going and deliver growth in the economy. Another fundamental element is, what does the vaccine program look like? South Africa's been a little bit delayed on this. We're only at 43% of the 40 million adults being vaccinated, and while for the older population it's looking quite good at probably 60%, younger generation have only really started to get vaccine now, and the country has really put a massive campaign together to try and get our youngsters vaccinated. A lot of them have only done the first one and not keen on going for a second or even the booster. So that's something that remains a big focus, especially being in the travel industry, to just get people vaccinated so that we can open up travel. From a supplier point of view, the globe has experienced a shortage on cars, and South Africa has also been impacted in this. And what we've seen is a general car booking, which normally takes us 3 minutes, is sometimes taking us 40 to 70 minutes to facilitate, because we just don't have the stock. So that's been very difficult. The supplier landscape has changed fundamentally, and we've seen airlines not go back to the sky, a lot of our low-cost carriers here in South Africa. But what's very encouraging is right now we're starting to see more airlift out of South Africa than ever before, and that's a winning formula for us, and hopefully that puts us in a good position for the future, and hopefully cars become a thing of the past in terms of stock, and we can start to get some new fleets in South Africa. The next point I want to just touch on is probably what our customers are saying, and customer demand honestly hits us in February and March like you cannot believe, and we actually couldn't keep up with the customer demand in what they wanted from a travel point of view. And what's so exciting about that is, because COVID hit us and we had to go through a massive retrenchment, we've actually been able to start bringing our people back. And what's such an exciting thing for FCM is that after 2 years, even with the people that have found jobs, they still want to come back to us. So it's been really, really easy to upstaff, but customer demand is there. Customers want to travel again. I know we went through 2 years of virtual meetings, 2 years of being in front of cameras, and while that still remains a very normal practice going forward, and we'll see that customers do that more and more, they do want to get back in the boardroom, they do want to meet with suppliers face to face, they do want to have relationships. So the demand for travel from a customer perspective is sitting at 85 to 90% of where it was pre-COVID, which is obviously exceptionally exciting for us. And then the last piece I'll just tackle from South African point of view when it comes to travel is, over the last 2 years what we saw is not much in a new business takeover. This is, I'm talking about South Africa, and what we found is a lot of customers, including our own, said, let's sit back, let's wait and see what happens, and so no one actually went out into an RFP process. And I think that's what's so exciting about today's talk and getting our customers to really think about what does that RFP of the future look like, because only now our customers are starting to think about that. And by thinking about that new RFP process, what is it that the travel program should look like? What airlines are they going to fly? Like we've gone through so much change, so have our customers. They also had to restructure. They've also closed businesses. So what was an important reference of travel before is probably not there anymore. So from a South African point of view, just to sum up, well, our economy is growing very, very slowly. There are some very encouraging signs when it comes to travel. Our customers want to get back out there. Our suppliers are starting to have airlift again and full hotels with COVID policies in place. So overall, South Africa is looking good.
So certainly some exciting times for us in South Africa. I think 2.5 years of an economy and travel being unprecedented, but so good to know, Bonnie, that we are seeing some real growth and some appetite, I suppose. People saying, I want to travel again. People saying, it's time for me to review my program and understand what are the key things that I want to achieve. So I suppose, Mummy, jumping to you, knowing all of this and understanding, where we are as a country, what we do well in an FCM brand and what trends and behaviors we are seeing from our customers, what do you believe are the travelers' sentiment? What is our travelers saying and how do they feel?
So from the feedback and what we're seeing with our travelers is that travel has become a non-negotiable. For the past 2 years, what we've been doing is customers have been meeting with their suppliers, stakeholders, negotiating deals virtually, which we have now seen the need to go back to traditional travel and have that face-to-face experience, right? So the first thing that most of our travelers are doing is going back to what is essential and non-essential, right? So it's very important for a customer to outline what is deemed as essential for their company. It's also important that you outline this in your travel policy so that your travelers know what is permitted what type of travel is permitted to take place prior from them planning their meetings with customers, prior to them planning those meetings where they need to go sign deals or go and visit their existing customers. What we're also seeing that is coming into place is the cost to travel, right? So I think travel expenditure has always been it's often one of those top expenditures within a company. It's always up there with your salaries, your IT, your rent expenditure. And as a company, it's very important that you have clear visibility on your travel spend, as well as how you are tracking against your budget. And with a platform with a system such as FMM Platform, that's where we will give you that visibility. So you are always on top of how you are spending. Are you in front or behind the curve? And where you do need assistance, that's where your account manager will come in and assist you to make sure that you are sticking to your budget. Another thing that we are seeing, because travelers are coming back, the people are going back into travel, is also just for them understanding the travel policy. What used to be essential, what used to be safe and logical 2 years ago, it's not necessarily the case. So what we're seeing is our travelers need information as to understand what is approved and what is in their pre-approval policy when it comes to travel, and understanding what is the most logical fare, right? What is a safe process right now when it comes to traveling overseas? So the travelers are back on the road. Another thing that has came into place after the 2 years where we're doing things so much different is our quarantine regulations, COVID restrictions. How do travelers go out there and be confident, and how do we as a company provide them that information? And through the FCM platforms and tools such as our Traveler Hub, the travelers that are on the road and actually doing the trips want that information as to understand what are the quarantine measures that are in place, what do I need to do before my trip. So another thing that has become very important is pre-approval for the trip, and each company, we advise our customers to have the clear policy that outlines what has to be done so that there is no delay in setting up this trip or going back into the world and traveling again. Because we've all realized that as great as online could have been for the past 2 years and convenient, there is a need for businesses to go out there and be with their customers and be on the ground and make sure that they're going and making use of the preferred suppliers that have been verified and are still able to accommodate their travelers, are in line with their policies during this time.
So back to you, Bonnie. And I think the reality is that the road warriors are ready to travel, they're eager to travel, ready to discover the four corners of the world again. And even though we talk about technology, I think the reality is that our customers don't really care about technology. So the consumer doesn't even really care about technology. What they really care about is, does it work and how does it work, right? So in summary, if you have to think about technology of the future, what are the main things travel management companies need to consider in the future of technology?
Thanks, Raylene. Look, I'm going to answer the first one with possibly it not being technology, but probably something that's coming up a lot, and that's sustainability. And I think why that's important is, number one, this new generation coming through is exceptionally worried about the planet, and as we all should be, and what does the future of the planet look like. And we know that travel has the biggest impact on sustainability. So TMCs should be thinking about that. And how do we engage with our customers to really provide them with a robust solution around sustainability? We have to travel, we know that, but how do we give them insights into their travel program through reporting, through our tools that says, you know what, if you take this route with less stopovers, you're having less impact on the world. Stay eco-friendly and green hotels. Lots of our hotels have launched a green program. So let's make sure we check into those hotels and we are helping the environment. So for me, sustainability is probably number one. Number two, and we've always had it at FCM, but it's probably been elevated over the COVID pandemic, is duty of care. If you do not have a robust technology that you can provide to your customer that tells them where their travelers are at any time, you will be left behind. Customers now have put duty of care and knowing and travel alert above the budget of travel. So they want to know that their travelers are looked after, we know where they are, we can track them and we can send them alerts. What's exciting in the FCM space is while we've always had it, we've actually integrated it even better. And we've been able to give that comfort to our customers at their fingertips within our FCM platform. So customers love that they know where their travelers are, and travelers want to know that they are being looked after. Number three goes back to that budget, and anyone that comes from a finance background is going to be smiling right now, because we know that that budget is still important. And what are airfares of the future going to look like? What is it, with the fuel price increasing massively, it puts massive constraints on airlines to make sure that they can still fly their aircrafts full. And how do they do that when the price is at an all-time high, not just in South Africa, but globally, as we're seeing. So budgets still become a big focus, and I think what customers want to see at their fingertips, again, like you say, it's not about what's the technology, what technology are we using, what OB2 are you using, but actually, can the customer find it easy to use? That UI UX experience where they can log into a platform and simply see what's going on within their travel program, how much airfares are costing. They can actually do a quick, robust look at what other customers are paying. And that's something that comes to you through our FCM reporting. So you can actually do a deep dive analysis into, hang on a second, we always travel to 3 destinations, when's the lowest time that we can go, when is it sustainable, and how's it going to impact our financial costs. I think over 2 years we didn't have financial cost of travel, right? And now it's starting to come up, so everyone's starting to say, can we have more travel budget, can we have more travel budget? Obviously as FCM, music to our ears, but from a customer point of view, they just want to make sure that that isn't blowing out completely and that people aren't just getting on the plane for the sake of getting on a plane. Number 4, I'm going to talk about the FCM platform and what flexibility it brings. So I've touched on it in my other points, but essentially FCM platform is going to be your home for travel. So if you think travel, you're going to the FCM platform, and within it, it offers you lots of flexibility. So you've got that global solution that gives you the great FCM look and feel with itinerary management, always on assistant, great data and reporting, but we've also got the flexibility to bring in the travel program that suits the customer. We're not asking the customer to fit into our box of this is what we sell. We're saying to the customer, bring whatever booking tool you want, we can plug it in. Whatever HR feed you want to work off, we can plug it in. So we allow our customers to integrate with us and have a flexible model across the world, or consistent model where they are globally, but allowing them to bring in that level of flexibility. Your platform literally just becomes your home of your traveler. And then the last point is probably the mobile app. I remember when FCM first went live with our mobile app, many of our customers will know that as SAM. It's now changed to the FCM mobile app. We were probably one of the first that went live. I know from a South African point of view, we were probably one of the first. Now, a mobile app is just part of travel maintenance. If you don't have it, you're going to be left behind. And what the FCM mobile app does is really becomes your always-on assistant. It works with you as you're traveling. It talks to you pre, during, and post-trip, and allows us to engage with our travelers. It also allows the travel bookers from a company to engage with travelers and be able to send them notifications of what's going on in their trips using the FCM platform. The mobile app is your voucher system, your payment solution. It's everything in one place. So the most important thing you can do if you're a traveler of FCM is download our app, engage with us through the app, and know that you always have us at your beck and call.
Wonderful. So what I'm hearing, Bonnie, is an FCM platform that's intuitive, that is seamless, it is flawless, but it also supports the technology piece as a single sign-on. Everything lives there. I love that Thnk FCM, you Thnk platform, but we also have all those technology pieces that does work, right? It's not just something that happens in the background and it's not working.
Yeah.
So Mami, straight on to you. Companies we now through or during or in the process of RFPs, and huge organizations in most cases see this as quite a tedious process, quite a process that seems long-winded. And I think the reality is that there's so much uncertainty at the moment around what we need to focus on as an organization when we go through the RFP process. What are the main points that we need to consider when appointing our new travel management company? And in your experience, knowing all of this, what would be the key tips or points you would like to share with customers that needs to submit a request for proposal and things that they need to consider?
So the key points I would share with our customers when considering an RFP process is, firstly, we all need to remember the last time we actually looked into changing suppliers or renewing contracts in detail was back in 2019. What we've seen over the past 2 years is customers were extending their existing contracts and not looking much into your travel program as they would have previously. What we are now seeing in the new year is that has changed. Customers are back to talking about RFPs, going out to the market and seeing what's available. So the main key points I would advise organizations to look at and consider is, firstly, the most important one, which is understanding your business travel needs, right? So that's the first one that comes into place. When organizations know what they need from a supplier, it's very easy for them to go out with a detailed RFP and outline what their current needs are, so the prospective people or buyers that are coming in and providing that TMC solution are able to check and make sure that they meet those travel needs, right? Cool. So something as simple as identifying that, is your travel program with your TMC one that is very transactional, or is it of a strategic approach, right? Once you outline that and you clearly define that, then you know you're looking for a partner that's just going to service you with your transaction issues, an online booking tool, easygoing. But the minute it goes into a more detailed, complex solution where you're looking for reporting, a partnership, then that's where you need to go and find a supplier that's going to be able to provide you with those essential things. A platform like FCM Platform that gives you all those consolidated things, reporting, traveler tracking, as well as all the other aspects that you will need. What's important if you go for that strategic approach is that both the buyer, which is the organization, as well as the supplier, which is the TMC, need to invest the time into building that relationship. I would then go on to advising organizations that another important thing that we're seeing and hearing about during RFP processes is pain points. So the more information you provide TMCs that are coming into your RFP as to these are our current pain points, it makes sure that the solution that you're taking, whether it's a new supplier or you're renewing with your existing supplier, outlines the solution that the TMC has for your pain points. You need somebody who's going to come in and improve what you're currently battling with. When travelers see a change, they embrace a change if they know that it's going to make a difference into their lives. Then once you have outlined your travel needs, your pain points, you need to then think around how you want this process to be done. Do you want RFPs or bids submitted where you're going to have a committee that looks into each and everything? Do you have a list of where you're going to score different TMCs based on if they are addressing what you have outlined in your travel needs as well as your pain points? You then have to make sure that the process is communicated to everybody who's attending and keep them updated with the information. The next thing is you need to weigh in your responses. This is part of your selection process. You need to weigh in what you've been provided by the different suppliers or the TMCs and then see who meets those basic needs, who addresses those pain points. Therefore, you are making sure that you are making accurate decision supported by what you have been provided in order for you to be able to make the selective choice. Then another thing is decide on your pricing model. So we have different pricing models when it comes to our customers. Some is transactional, some is management fees, some is a combination of both. You need to look at your travel program. Going back to the first point I made, your travel needs. What kind of an organization are we? When it comes to our cost management that's related to travel, which model works best? Once you have identified that and you decide on the best pricing model, you then move over to checking the references when it comes to the suppliers that have submitted RFPs or submitted their tender documents to be part of your travel program. Because so much has changed in the past 2 years, you need to make sure that the sustainability of those suppliers is still on check. You know, their credit checks, you need to make sure that they're still existing and able to provide you with the service that you require for your organization. And then the last point I would say is very important is a good debrief to everybody. The successful partner who's going to be your new or existing TMC, as well as the ones who didn't, because it's a very good step to take, which is mostly missed during RFPs, because that will give feedback to all the suppliers on what were their strong points and then where they might have had some shortfalls. So the next time you are looking, or the next time they go out there and do their RFPs, then they know what they need to improve on or continue doing great.
Awesome. It's 6 or 7 easy steps by the sounds of it. I think that perception around it's tedious, it's complicated, I think you've just done such a great job in summarizing 6 or 7 steps that needs to be considered. And what really excites me, Mummy, is that you talk about that partnership. You talk about collaborating, working together and understanding how and where do we need to solve problems. So thank you for that insight. Ladies, thank you so much for your time today, and it's, as always, so good to spend time and have these robust conversations. And I think in summary for me, it's about that South African landscape. It's looking good. We are excited again as we take back to the skies, and where there's an appetite in corporate businesses and our organizations saying we're ready to travel. Combine that with great technology in the FCM platform, providing some comfort around always on, knowing that you've got the support of FCM travel, and then of course that last piece, just that comfort in knowing what do I need to look out for when I go through that RFP process, and what are the key points that I need to consider when I appoint my next travel management company. So I thank you for your time today. It was lovely catching up with both of you, and I'm looking forward to take to the skies with both of you. And thank you so much for your time today, and I hope we've got you thinking.